Hello guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, I'm going to be making a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate tier list. I'm jumping on the bandwagon. It's happening. Now, I went to my comments section, and the top comment, or I guess the only one I could really see, it said there were two comments, and only one showed up, so that was kind of weird. But the one I could see was, what are your thoughts on the newest Dragon Ball game? Now, I didn't know if this was the new single-player Dragon Ball story-based game. I think it's like Xenoverse 2 or something like that, which I haven't even heard a lot of people talking about, and I've never even seen gameplay of it, so I'm sorry if that's the one you're talking about. I have no clue about that game. But the new Dragon Ball Fighters, or Fighter Z, or whatever you want to call it, I guess it's not new. That game, I really enjoy watching it. I don't have it, and I think I've only played it one time. And I think it's a fighting game that does a very good job of being accessible, because it has auto combos, but I think it has a huge depth of strategy, seeing as how you pick three characters, and it's a lot like a tag fighting game, and I think it's super fun to watch. The art style is amazing. It looks just like a Dragon Ball anime, but as a fighting game. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the actual bulk of the video, and that is a tier list for Smash Ultimate. Now, I'm going to be basing this off of, I guess, an average, above average player. I wouldn't say, just like average online player, because it's going to be completely different. But someone who goes to tournaments can usually win a game or two, but never is really competing for the top spot. These are, I guess, more tournament-ish recommendations. Not really recommendations, but tournament-ish placings, because I think that online is completely different from playing locally, and these are all going to be for offline play, tournament play, sitting down with your roommate and just having a nice grind session, playing in your tournament for your school, whatnot. So that's what this is going to be about. I hope you guys like this. This is going to be a long recording session for me. So if you guys like this video, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're not already. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. First off, I have already put all the alts and echoes down here in the bottom. So I'm going to talk about those. I'm going to talk about all the characters individually, but I put all the alts and echoes, I think, unless I missed one, down here. And if you don't see a character that's an echo fighter of another one, I think it's different enough to have a different place in the tier list, as you'll see later. Number one, we're going to go ahead and put Mario A tier. I think Mario's really good. He's got really good combos. He is a very good all-arounder. He does struggle when it comes to range. He can get walled out by sword characters easier. But he does have Fireball, which he can use to approach. His combo game's insane. You can zero to death people with Mario fairly easily, especially if they don't know what they're doing and they're DIing incorrectly during your combo. I think Mario's just a solid all-around character, so I'm going to go ahead and put him in A tier. Donkey Kong, I don't think Donkey Kong's great, but I think you can play him. I think he can be played as a secondary even for some matchups. Not to the extent he was in 4, for sure, but he still does have Ding Dong. He has Cargo Throw. The problem is he is very grab dependent when it comes to trying to kill, because a raw smash attack can be kind of difficult to hit with him. So just know that if you're going to try to play Donkey Kong competitively. Link, I'm going to put Link in B tier. I think that Link requires so much effort to play well, and as of right now, his best moves are definitely his Nair and his up tilt, his up smash. And I think if you play well with Link, it can look insane, but people are still going to say, oh, you're just carried by Nair. So I think being a Link main is difficult, because with his remote bomb, you have so many insane setups and whatnot. But the problem is he's definitely he's very skill expressive, but someone who's just watching it and is not very familiar with the character is just going to say, oh, you're just being carried by 2 moves. Samus. I'm going to put Samus in an A tier. I think Samus, if you're playing online, is one of the best characters in the game. Easy. But even offline, her new buffs really, really helped her out a lot. And I definitely think that Samus is an A tier character. I just don't think that there's not enough high level pro players who really play Samus, even secondary Samus, to really make her look like that powerful of a character. Now, before I move on, I think the only one that's going to be ordered is S tier. So if it's not ordered, then you know these are all going to be roughly around the same skill level. Obviously, there's going to be differences between each character, but I think it's going to be just more generalized. S tier, I'm going to try to rank to the best of my ability for what character I think is the best and what character what I think is the worst of S tier. Next up, we have Yoshi. This is a tough one. I want to put him high B tier. I think he's probably the top character. Go over there. Okay. I think he's the top character in B tier, borderline A tier. I just don't. It's just like Samus. There's not enough people who play Yoshi. He's got some really insane things, but once again, he's kind of looked at as a skillless character because you can nair out a shield really easily, and he has some things that are not really janky, but super easy combos that you can do that are very, very strong. That I think people are just going to look, it's like, oh, you're just carried by a couple moves whenever you play Yoshi. Next up, Fox. I'm going to put Fox in the S tier. I think that a good Fox is insane. When Fox was in the early days of the meta, everyone's like, oh my goodness, this, near into up smash is just insane tech and all this stuff. But as the meta progresses, people are seeing Fox as more of a boring character because he's got a very, very simple game plan, but he can definitely express himself within that. So I'm going to go ahead and put Fox in A tier. I also think that there are very few matchups that he does very, very badly into. So he's going to go ahead and go into S tier. Next up is Kirby. He's D tier. Oh, no. Go, Kirby. There you go. Kirby is in D tier. He just doesn't have the air mobility to really but follow up with his combo game. He can have a great combo game, but his air mobility is so bad he can't use it. I think his moves and his aerials and his tilts are surprisingly good for a D rank character, but he's light and he's got low air mobility, so it's a not a double-edged sword, it's just a sword that goes straight to his heart, because he can't really follow up on anything. So Kirby, D tier. Pikachu, S tier. Pikachu is insane. He can squat under a lot of abilities. He's hard to hit because he's short and small. He does tons of damage. He's got great moves. All of his moves are just insane. I don't think I need to go on because Pikachu's just good. Luigi. I'm going to put Luigi in B tier. They definitely have jank. I think that's what the character's known for. He's got some jank with him. But I think the Luigi has more than just that, because if you can't get your jank, and you can't get your grabs, and you can't get your combos off your grabs, that's where a true Luigi player really can shine and say, hey, I can play this game. I'm more than just sit in the lab and farm grab combos the entire time, and that's all I do. He does have that, and that's probably his best thing, is his grab combos. But I think a true good Luigi player can show that Luigi is just more than grabs. Ness, I'm going to put Ness in a B tier as well. Ness got some good combos. He can play incredibly lame. He's stupid online. But I think that good Ness play, especially utilizing his PSI magnet now that it's been buffed and you can use it very differently as a combo extender and whatnot, I think that Ness play is just going to be on the rise. I think this is a character that's going to go up in the meta compared to some other characters. Captain Falcon. I'm going to put Captain Falcon in a C tier. I think the Captain Falcon mains definitely have some gripes with the character. His turnaround is kind of dumb. And while I don't think he should have a bunch of guaranteed stuff into knee, because I just think that would be completely broken, I still think that the character has some things that he can do, but I don't think it's enough to move him out of C tier. Jigglypuff. I've been watching some Hungrybox during the quarantine and watching his Jigglypuff play. I think this character can be really good, and I think a player like Hungrybox is going to keep showing that. I don't know if he's going to take Ultimate as seriously as he is right now because of just the quarantine. He can't really go out, and it's kind of hard to play, like pure melee face to face. But I think if Hungrybox sticks with this game, I think his Jigglypuff could be something to be feared. Not as much in melee. I don't think she's as good as she was then. But I think that Jigglypuff does actually have a future as a competitively viable character. Next up, we have Peach. Peach is going into S tier. This character is very, very good. I'm going to rank the S tier at the end, by the way, so you can see that. Peach, I just think, has an incredible early percent combo game. Can combo you from 0 to 80. Samsora is doing insane with the character. Mutace is doing very well with the character. And I just think that Peach's float cancel mechanic gives her so much that you can do with the character. Her turnips are really good. I just think that she's a very, very well-rounded character, and she can do a lot of things, and she has incredible kill potential. Next up, Bowser. I think Bowser's the best heavy in the game. I do think his place in the meta will go down as time goes on, because I think his playstyle is pretty simple, and that there are ways to get around him. I'm not very good at playing against Bowser, but I'm not going to let that cloud my judgment, say that there are things that you can do to play around him. I think that Bowser is by far the best heavy. His flamethrower is insane. He's got a lot of stuff that he can do. But I do think that his place in the meta is gonna keep going down and down. I think that he's not gonna hold that A tier spot forever. Next up, Ice Climbers. I'm gonna put Ice Climbers in a C tier. The only notable Ice Climbers player is Big D, and I think that this character is just very hit or miss, that it's all or nothing. I don't think that this character is going to be very good until the end of the game when people keep on optimizing these combos that they're doing. Next up, who is that? Sheik. Yes, it is Sheik. I think Sheik's B tier. I think that Void's going to keep improving the character. Sheik was bad for a long while. But I think she's finally she got some buffs recently, and I think she's finally starting to go on the uptrend. I think she's just going to keep getting better and better. So, yeah, Sheik, B tier. Next up, Zelda. If you're playing online, Zelda might just be the best character in the game. But in tournament, she's C tier. I don't think she has a whole lot when it comes to online, and you can't just sit behind lag and camp the whole game. Because her entire strategy, she just camps a lot. I think that's how she works. So, yeah, Zelda, C tier. Dr. Mario. Now, this is going to surprise some of you. I don't want him there. I think Dr. Mario has some things, and I think people are complaining about how bad he is a lot, but I'm pretty sure that Dr. Mario, as the game goes on, is going to keep going up. His combos aren't as good as Mario. His recovery, not great, but he just blows people up. And I think that this character is going to start going up the meta as time goes on. There are some notable players, like Louis Money, who's secondary to Dr. Mario, and I definitely think that as more dedicated Doc mains rise up, I think this character is going to go up. Now, he's probably very bottom of B tier, but I still think he's B tier nonetheless. Next up, Pichu. I'm going to put Pichu A tier. He has definitely fallen off ever since he got his nerfs. I think they over-nerfed him for sure. He might be B tier, but I'm going to put him A tier because I still think there are enough dedicated Pichu players that are doing decently well and are showing still that this character can have results, especially because Void isn't really playing Pichu anymore. He's playing Sheik almost full time. So I wanted to go ahead and put Pichu up there because I still think that this character, if it was ever picked up by a top player, can do very well. It's just this character, just like Ice Climbers, can be hit or miss. You can get blown up, or you'll just blow people up. So, yeah, Pichu, A tier. Falco. I wanted to main Falco for a while. because I love Mango and I love watching his melee play when he plays Falco. This character's neutral game is so bad. He just has to hope that you're dumb enough to let him hit an up tilt so he can actually start comboing you. Now, once he's comboing you, he's great. However, when he's not, it's a little iffy. So, Falco, I'm sorry, you're C tier. Marth. Marth is, in my opinion, B tier. I think this character has things that Lucina can't do, but I think implementing him and executing him at a high level is much more difficult than it is for Lucina to do. So I think, strictly speaking, Lucina's better. Now, he does have combos that Lucina can't do, but I just think that if you're looking for a sword character to play, I don't think Marth's the one. Next up, Young Link. Young Link is definitely A tier. The number one player in Nebraska, Young Link player, Toast did really well at Frostbite playing Young Link. I think that this character getting buffed definitely gave him a spot to contend for major top 8s because this character is insane. He can be annoying to play against online, he can just spam you out, and he can do that in tournament too. He can just kind of wall you out with fire arrows. But he's also very, very good at playing aggressive. He does have some range issues even though he has a sword, and he's light and can die early, so you have to be careful with that. He can struggle to kill a little bit, but I think there's some more combos from his buff, so he can kill better. So yeah, Young Link, I think he's A tier. Ganondorf, we thought this was your game, buddy, but you're in the garbage tier like you always are. When the game first came out, people thought Ganondorf was so good because he just hit so hard. But he's slow, his frame data's not good, his recovery's not good. He's just not good. I'm sorry, Ganon mains, but you're not very good. Next up, Mewtwo. I still think that Mewtwo has some stuff, but no one plays him. So it's hard to put him any higher. Because, yeah, you can say that every character has some stuff, but there are people playing it and they can't really do anything with it. Mewtwo, no one plays him. There's really no tournament results for him anywhere, so I'm sorry, Mewtwo, you're just C tier because you're just very unproven. Next up, Roy. I'm going to put Roy in S tier. I'm probably going to put him at the very bottom of S tier. I think that this character has a very simple game plan, but he's very good at executing it. He kind of runs in and hits you hard and kills you early, and that's about it. If it doesn't work, then Roy can kind of get shut down. The one problem he has is that he does rely on hitting people closer to him to get his max damage on his sword instead of far away, which is kind of like opposite what normal swordy players will, where they're going to try to space you out. Roy's just going to run at you. So, yeah, I'm going to put Roy in S tier. I think he's a good character. Next up, Mr. Game & Watch. I'm going to put him right there next to Mario. He's A tier. His up out of shield is just dumb. I don't know what else to say. He's got some dumb stuff. He's got some gimmicks. Meister is insane. I don't think that Meister is ranked as highly as he is just because of Game & Watch. I think that Meister himself is a very, very good player. And Game & Watch is a good character, but I don't think that's what's carrying Meister. Next up, Meta Knight. Abadango dropped this character, and now there's not a whole lot of people really playing him. He's got some combos, but nothing like in Smash 4. I think this character is just slightly below average. I think you can play him if you want to, if you're one of those old Brawl fans that just wants to relive the glory days, but he's not going to be as good as he was. Next up, Link. Link and Dark Link, they're essentially the same character. They have slightly different abilities and specials, but, I mean, they're very, very similar. He just doesn't have... He's very, very basic, very honest, but he's too honest to go any higher than C tier. And if you want to play a character like Link, especially with his neutral air, then just play Palutena. It's that simple. Next up, ZSS. I'm going to put ZSS up in S tier. I think that this character, unlike what Mars says, is very good. Next up, Wario. I hate playing against Wario. He can camp you out. He can kind of rush you down. But if you mess up, he's just going to combo you super, super hard. And his waft is kind of dumb. It just deletes people. It's essentially just like a free win over almost every single character once he gets rolling. Yeah, I think that Wario's definitely a good character. Next up, Snake. I'm gonna put Snake in the A tier. Um, a lot of high level Snake players have been kind of falling off a little bit. I mean, MVD hasn't been doing as well as everyone thought he would with Snake back in the game. I still think that Snake's a very strong character, and you have to definitely alter your playstyle when you're playing against him. But I don't think he is the strongest character in the game. Next up, Ike. I'm going to put Ike in the B tier. Um, he's got one of the simplest play styles in the game, along with Bowser. I think those are two of the easiest characters to execute at a high level. He just wants to nair you. He's going to hit you in some combos. He's going to like down tilt to nair to up air or something like that. He's just going to throw out some nairs. He's going to throw out some up airs. He's going to throw out some forward airs, and that's his general game plan. And he's very good at executing it, but he's slow, and his recovery can be exploitable, especially when he goes from side B recovery. So yeah, I think Ike's just B tier. Next up, Pokemon Trainer. I'm gonna put Pokemon Trainer in A tier. I think that this character you have to learn 3 times the amount of matchups as any other solo main in the game. Because you have to learn how Squirtle plays against every character. You have to learn how Ivysaur plays against every character. You have to learn how Charizard plays against every character. I think that mental toll of knowing when to switch, when not to switch, and all that is incredibly, incredibly difficult for someone who's not a player like Tweak, who I think should still stick with Pokemon Trainer because he plays every character in the game essentially, and Pokemon Trainer is kind of like getting um, one character of each archetype into one character. So yeah, Pokemon Trainer A tier. I think he's difficult to execute in tournaments. I think that's his one major flaw. Next up, Diddy Kong. I'm gonna put Diddy in a B. His infinite, I don't know what people are calling it. I think it's pyramid scheme or something like that. Is insane. And if you're gonna play Diddy Kong, you need to know how to set up that infinite and how to pull off that infinite in tournament if you want to be able to succeed with him. Other than that, I think he's good. He's not great. He's not like he was in Smash 4. I think this character has the potential to go up in the meta as time goes on, instead of the other way around. But I still think that he's not going to ever break the top 10 best characters in the game, unless they buff him heavily. Next up, Lucas. I think that Lucas has some stuff, but not as much as Ness. I just don't think he's got a little bit of a throw combo, but I don't think that it's as consistent as most Lucas mains would want them to be. His aerials are just worse than Ness. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. He's got a Zaire. That's about all he's got going for him over Ness. If you like playing Lucas, just play Ness instead. They're similar, but Ness is better. Next up, Sonic. And this is a tough one. If we're talking about online, he's easily an S tier. I think this character is rapidly going up the tier list. So for that reason, I think I'm going to put him in an A, expecting that he's just going to keep better and that the players who play Sonic are just going to keep getting better. Sonic frustrates people a lot, so I know I'm going to get some hate for putting him this high, but I'm just honestly saying I think that Sonic not only has room to grow, but he currently is a very good character. Next up, King Dedede. I think King Dedede is D tier. I think he needs some buffs. He's slow. His projectiles are okay. You can get some nice traps with Gordo on ledge and whatnot, and you can cheese people out, especially because like his dash attack 2 frames. But it's so slow. A lot of his abilities are so slow. He kind of doesn't really have much going for him. Next up, Olimar. Now, don't let the buzz trick you on Twitter. Olimar, still an A tier. He's not D or F tier or whatever he says he is. Olimar, still good. I still think that Olimar is a very good character. It takes a big brain to play Olimar. I don't think you can be a stupid button masher and play Olimar. But I still think that Olimar is a very, very good character. I think his spot in the meta will go down eventually as more people learn how to play against him, know what their character can do against Olimar, and know how to play smart against it. But for right now, I still think that Olimar is a very, very good character. Plus, he's small, hard to hit. He didn't really deserve his shield nerfs that he got earlier in the game. But he is still an A tier. He's still a very playable character. Lucario suffers from the same thing that Mewtwo does. Nobody plays this character. I would love to see a good Lucario player come out of nowhere and start winning everything. I think that'd be super awesome to watch. But now that Rage is toned down, I really don't think he has that same comeback factor as he did. I just don't think that this character is going to be that great anytime soon. Next up is Rob, and I'm going to put Rob in an A tier. Rob is a good character. He's got some insane frame data. He's got great ways to keep you out. He's heavy. He's a big body. And I think that's what's holding him back, is that he can be combo food if you can combo him very well. But he has such an insane advantage state that it's hard to put him anywhere lower than an A tier. Next up, Toon Link. I think Toon Link is B tier. There doesn't seem to be as many people playing Toon Link as Young Link. I don't know why. I don't play either of these characters, so I couldn't tell you what the big difference is. But I've seen a lot more results and a lot more people speaking highly of Young Link compared to Toon Link or even normal Link. So I'm going to go ahead and put Toon Link down there in a B tier. Next up, Wolf. He got nerfed quite a few times at the end of the game, and people thought that he was not going to be a very good character. Guess what? I think he's still a really, really good character. He is one of the best fundamentals character in the game. Now, am I saying he doesn't take mechanics? No. I think that you still need a lot of mechanical skill to be able to play Wolf very well. Look at Zachary. He's one of the most insane mechanically gifted players I think we've seen recently, other than Leo. And his Wolf, when he played it a lot, was probably the best one in the game. And there are a lot of people who play Wolf in this game. So yeah, I'm going to put Wolf in an S tier. And I think he does have the potential to go down a little bit, but not by much. I think he's in a good spot right now. Next up, Villager. I'm going to put Villager in a C tier. I think that slow play style that he had in Smash 4 just isn't really as viable in Ultimate. And he can't really just time people out, gimmick people out. And it's a little disappointing because Villager's a fun character. He's a unique character until they added Isabelle. But now you don't really ever see him. Next up, Mega Man. I'm going to put Mega Man in the A tier. I think Mega Man is a very good character. I think he's got a lot of potential, and he is very difficult to play. This is the one character that I wish I could play out of all of the characters in the game, but I can't. So yeah, Mega Man, A tier. He can camp people out, he can rush them down if he's good enough, and there's a lot of good ones, so Mega Man. Next up, Wii Fit Trainer, and I think no one's going to believe me when I say this. I think Wii Fit Trainer's A tier. Let me explain. Deep breathing nukes people. Everything she has does a lot of damage when you have deep breathing on. She's got projectiles. She's got a pretty dang good dash attack. She's got wonky hitboxes that are hard to position against. Now, a lot of her normal moves have not as much of a lack of range as Mario's, but still a little bit of a lack of range. But other than that, she's a good character. I just think that there's not enough super high level Wii Fit trainers to really make this character look good. I know Varun and John Numbers are good, but I don't think there's that top 50 representative that's just styling on people with Wii Fit all the time to make other people want to pick up this character. Next up, Rosalina and Luma. I'm going to put her at a B tier. She takes a lot of practice to play. I think that she is a very difficult character to play, and for pretty much a high mid-tier character, you're putting in a lot of effort for a character that's not going to reward you that much. And I think that, yeah, her new buff where she can wear her shield when she has Luma right next to her is helpful. I still think that she is a character that requires a lot of effort for not a lot of her. Next up, we have Little Mac, and I don't think Little Mac's the worst character in the game, but he's down there. Or let me put it like that. I think that's pretty much the order of low tier right now. I don't think Little Mac's the worst character in the game by any means, but he's not a good character by any means. His aerial game, non-existent. His recovery, not great. But when he's on the ground, he will dumpster you. So if you don't know how to play against him, he can definitely have his way and win some matches. Next up, Greninja. People were saying Greninja was very good at the beginning of the game, but I think he's fallen off a little bit. People know what he's trying to do with his playstyle, and they can just play around it. If you whiff punish him a lot, then you can get a big advantage on him. I still think he's a very, very good character. I just don't think that he is as high rated as everyone thought he was going to be when the game first came out. Next up, the Mii Fighters, and they're all in one group here, and I think that's kind of fitting. I think they're all somewhere in C tier. Now, each one's positioned, if you were going to make a totally accurate, like, this is the order list, then I think you would spread them out across C tier, but I think they're all C tier. There's not enough people who play them either to really get a grasp of how good these characters are. So, I think it's unfortunate. The amount of customizability that these characters have is great, but no one plays them. Next up, Palutena! Everyone's favorite waifu is in S tier. She's just got everything a character wants. She's got an easy-to-execute combo game. Her recovery is passable. I think that it can be exploited. She's got very, very easy two-framing ability. She's got an invincible dash attack and back air. She just has to hit you with aerials. That's her game plan. It's all you really have to do. She's got good projectiles. Yeah, it's pretty great. Next up, Pac-Man. I think Pac-Man's S tier. Why? He's one of the best owners in the game. There's almost no Pac-Mans anywhere in your region, I can guarantee you that. Unless, you got that one guy. You all know that one guy that plays Pac-Man. And I think that he is incredibly frustrating to play against because you're comboing him. Oh, Hydrant. Oh, he's just going to sit behind it. Oh, now he's going to throw something at you. That's what he does. Now, of course, there are people who play Pac-Man more aggressively that just don't sit behind Hydrant. However, I think Pac-Man's very strong, and I don't think people are going to figure out how to play against T anytime soon. He's just going to keep on putting up results with Pac-Man. I think Pac-Man is very good. Next up, Robin. Right now, a secondary Robin, but I don't think Robin is great. You don't start with Levin Sword. I really think that would be like the one buff that could put Robin into B tier is just to start with Levin Sword. You have some basic combos, but really you're hoping your opponent runs into you and rushes you down so that you can hard punish them. Because this character's punish game and ledge trap is insane. But when you're getting aggressed upon, you don't have a whole lot of options to get out of there. And if you're really in disadvantage for a long time and you have to use multiple up Bs over and over again, you're going to run out of them. And then you're kind of boned. So I'm going to put Robin in a C tier for having obvious flaws, but still being a halfway decent character. Next, Shulk. Grab Shulk, yep. Shulk cheats. His Monado arts are the single best special ability in the game. He's got giant hitboxes. Not the best frame data for a character that I would consider S tier, but this character can still absolutely blow you away with Smash and Buster art and not take almost any knockback and shield art and be impossible to kill. Then also has jump and speed, because why not? Next up, Bowser Jr. I think Bowser Jr. is not good. I think this character has some things, but once again, not enough people play him. His projectiles are pretty garbage. And his jab's good. I'll give him that. His jab's good. Yay, positivity. You're not supposed to be there. We're going to put you in an Echo. Or an Ult. Next up, Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt is insanely difficult to play. The only real notable Duck Hunt is Raito. So, unless you're Raito, I would say kind of stray away from this character. I think there are other zoners and trap-based characters that you can play that are much better than Duck Hunt, just play Snake. Snake's like Duck Hunt, but just easier to execute and better. Yeah, that's what I have to think. That's what I have to say about Duck Hunt. Next up, Lucina. Da, 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 da. Why is no one playing Lucina anymore? This character's still good. They're super easy to execute with. And if you have good spacing, a lot of your stuff is unpunishable. And I just think that people almost forgot about Lucina because she's boring to play. It can be a little repetitive. But this character is still insanely good. If you're trying to win, then just play Lucina because this character is just good. Right? Next up, Ryu, or as my dad pronounces him, Ryu. I think Ryu's pretty good. I think he's the worst of the two Street Fighter characters. But I still think he's pretty good. He does more damage than Ken, and I think it's really about all you pick him for, kind of just to blow people up. Kind of like Dr. Mario versus Mario is kind of the same way you look at Ken and Ryu. Or unless you just like Ryu better, then you could pick Ryu, even though he's not as good of a character. Next up, we have Cloud. Cloud's starting to go up on the tier list a little bit. I'm going to put him in A tier. His buff to his up smash, I don't think did a whole lot, but I think that more people are playing this character again and realizing that, hey, this character still can play pretty well. His back air is really good. And if you space his forward air, even that can be fairly safe on shield if you just space it correctly. So I think Zero playing in a lot of these online tournaments also help really buff Cloud's popularity. So I think people are seeing Cloud more and more. And with the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think you're going to, when you come back from quarantine to your local tournaments, I think there's going to be a giant influx of Cloud players. And he's still a decent character, too, outside of all that. He's still a very playable character. You might want to have a secondary if you main Cloud. But I still think he's a good character. Next up, we have a sword character that's not that good. Corrin. I think Corrin's C tier. Yeah, I'm going to put Robin in front of Corrin. She's too slow to have a good advantage state. I think she could have a very, very good advantage state, but she's just too slow to capitalize on it. She's got great aerials. She's got some halfway decent frame data. Her neutral B is awful. They nerfed her side B, and she's too slow to really do anything. And I think that's kind of unfortunate because, who am I kidding? We want this character out of the game. Fates was garbage. Next up, we have Bayonetta. I think that the only people who are going to be successful with Bayonetta are those die-hard Bayo mains from Smash 4. I don't think anyone anytime soon is going to pick up Bayo and start being successful with her just like out of the blue, like, I want to play Bayo. Because I just don't think this character is very good. They just kind of neutered her from Smash 4, and I really don't see a universe where they try to bring her back and make her competitively viable. Next up, Inkling. I don't know if it's the Inkling players that fell off, or if the character just wasn't as good as everyone hyped them up to be, but Inkling has fallen out of the competitive meta almost completely. I still think this character is pretty good, and I still think this character has a lot of stuff that you can do with her. But no one's playing her, and no one's getting results with her, because Cosmos says that he's dropping Inkling for Pikachu, and I just don't see anyone play Inkling anymore, and I think it's kind of disappointing. I think it's a cool character concept, but now there's just no one trying to play her, and there's also hasn't been a whole lot of innovating on her combos or anything like that. Just playing her can feel super stale, because you kind of just spam back air the entire game. So Inkling's still a good character, it's just I don't know where she went. She just disappeared off the face of the earth. Next up's Ridley. I think Ridley has one of the best advantage states in the game, but just absolutely has the worst disadvantage state in the game. So it's kind of a risk-reward. It's like, you want to get juggled for infinity, or do you want to deal massive damage? And that's the character for you. If not, I just think this is an extremely average character. Better than people thought when he was first, when people first started playing him when the game came out. People were very disappointed with him then. I think he slowly made his way up, but it's just the fact that he's lighter than Samus, and the size was super heavyweight. I think it really just kind of screws him over. Next up, we have the Belmonts. I think when playing on LAN with another player sitting right next to you, the Belmonts aren't that good. Uh, they're great online, but I think that playing them online versus offline is just night and day. I think this character can be a very niche counter pick because they've got insane range, but I just don't think the character has a whole lot of stuff for a, a giant in the games industry back in the day. This character, tier list wise, just doesn't do him justice. Next up, King K. Rool. I'm gonna admit this one's a little biased. There's a guy in my region that plays King K. Rool, and he's insane. He won the last Arcadia, and not the online one, but the LAN one that I went to. And he's a very, very good player. And I just think that King K. Rool, he's heavy, he's slow, but I think he does have some things that he can very much do against some of the characters in the cast. And I think that this character has room to grow, surprisingly, because Nintendo gutted this character. When the game first came out, everyone thought he was so overpowered, so overtuned. So Nintendo kind of just gutted him. And I think it's kind of sad for those people who really wanted to see King K. Rool in the game. And now they have to sit and look at this sad, pathetic husk of a character that they have now. But I still think the character can do stuff. Next up, Isabelle is markedly worse than Villager. You don't have Void Rocket. You don't have even Tree to control space. You have your little landmine, which is great when you're playing against people who don't know what you're doing, that don't know what they're doing, and then you can just kill them over and over again. But against real competitors, I don't think that that cheese is going to get through. I don't think that this character is very good. Next up, Ken. Ken is solidly A tier. I think he's just going to keep getting better too. This character is insane at what he can do, but it takes a lot of skill, a lot of practice to be able to pull it off. So, Ken, I'm going to go ahead and put him in A tier. I don't really play either of the Street Fighter characters, so I don't really know too much about them. But I think I do know enough about them to mark them on the tier list. Next up, Incineroar. I think Incineroar is C tier. He's such a cool design, but he's so slow. I understand that he's a super heavyweight, but Nintendo, give him a little speed. Make our character viable. He's so slow on the ground. It's not even funny. He's got some good stuff too, but it's just kind of hard to execute on your advantage state when you can't even juggle someone correctly because you're too slow to walk over to them. Next up, who is this? That's one of the heroes. Hero, solidly middle of the pack. We thought he was going to be completely busted, and he wasn't. So this is Chrom. I'm an idiot. Chrom's A tier. Simple to play, kind of like Roy. You run at them, but not as inconsistent, except your recovery sucks. That's all I have to say. All right. Messed that one up, but that's okay. Next up, Piranha Plant. Piranha Plant is a one-button character. You press the B button. That's it. This character, he's a DLC character with one DLC move, and the rest of it is not great. So his Indalag on a lot of his moves are incredibly long, but his neutral B is great. You can exploit his recovery if he's coming straight up. His neutral B is really good. His tilts are kind of lackluster. His side B is lackluster. But he's got a good neutral B. If you like pressing the B button, Sonic and Piranha Plant, there's your characters. Next up, Joker. Solidly S tier. He's a good character. They nerfed him. Nerf didn't really do much to him. He's still a very good character. Leo is an insane player, and I think that's markedly shown when the only other top-level player who really plays Joker is Zachary, and these two players are just mechanical bosses. They're just genius when their thumbs hit the controller. So, Joker, you're going to be up there in S tier. Banjo-Kazooie. People are disappointed. This character is such a zoner. They were so excited for this character, but now he just kind of plays campy and boring. Yeah, I'm going to put him in B tier. People are disappointed about this character. Um, Definitely, you can cheese people who don't know what they're doing against the character because he's got so many gimmicks, and Wonder Wing is the best side B in the game. But he's disappointing for a lot of people. A lot of people dropped him after they played him for a while. So I think he's solidly in B tier. He's not a bad character by any means. It's just a lot of people aren't very happy about the direction they took when designing him. Finally, now we get to Hero. Just like Banjo, he's mid tier. But this mid tier, people wanted to ban. Yeah, people wanted to ban Hero, but it turned out he's just kind of mid tier because his spells and special abilities are insanely powerful, but the rest of his moveset is very underwhelming. I think that's the balance that Sakurai was trying to find with this character, and I think he found it pretty well. So, yeah, B tier for Hero. Next up, second to last, we have Terry. I think Terry's A tier. I think he's a solid enough character. When he gets over 100%, he can just unleash some of that ghost sauce on people. It's pretty great. You can jab, jab, power dunk all day. That's the most satisfying combo in the game. I lied, it's not the most satisfying combo. But I think this character is very solid, he's good, and his recovery, not great. He's got a little bit of a lack of range problem, but all the traditional fighting game characters do. He's got a projectile to make up for it. He can close in some space fairly well. His grab game, not great, didn't have a whole lot of combos off that. But the rest of his kit, his punish game is insane. His combo game, pretty dang good with jab, jab, power dunk, or nair power dunk, or whatever you want to do into power dunk. That this character is pretty dang good. Last and least out of the DLC characters, Byleth. I think Byleth's C tier. It's a zoner style character that doesn't have any real zoning capabilities. Your bow takes so long to shoot, you can't really zone. You can't really just camp people out with it. You got long range on most of your normals, but one of your best normals is your nair, and it has no range. Your down tilt is fantastic. I'll give you that. Well, guys, that's gonna do it for putting all the characters on here. Now it's time to rank the S tier, as I said I would. I think Pikachu is the best character in the game, for sure. I think Palutena second. Go second. Thank you, Palutena. Palutena's just got this ease of execution to her, and just this very simplistic nature that allows the Palutena player to out-mind game their player. That's why Nairo's so good with her, because Nairo's got a lot of experience, he's got a lot of tournament knowledge, he knows how to run shit. So, I think that Palutena is a great fit for him, because he doesn't have to worry about his mechanics as much as he just has to play the game and win by outplaying his opponent. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put Peach. Now I'm going to put Peach there. I think that Peach is very good. Almost the complete opposite from Palutena, where this character is very, very mechanically demanding. And does a ton of damage and is a good character. Next up, Joker. Leo can't be wrong. He's not going to pick a low tier. This character is insane. When Arsene comes out, he is probably easily the best character in the game. But without Arsene, he's probably just A tier. So you have to balance the character around those two things. I think the Joker is a very, very good character, but does have some flaws. When he doesn't have Arsene, you can definitely pick on him. Next up, I'm going to put Shulk. Everyone calls Shulk Mr. Potential, and I think that Shulk does have a lot of potential, ironically. His Monado arts allow him to cheat. He's got insane range, so if you just can space them out correctly, you can't really get hit. And I just think that Shulk is a very, very good character that we don't see enough of at the top level. Next up, I'm going to put Wario. His Waft allows him to insta-win games. He can confirm into it fairly easily. Yeah, he's just a pretty dumb character, but he's also very good. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and put... Well, there we go. Put Lucina. And back to what I said about Lucina. Why is no one playing this character? This character is insanely good. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put Wolf and then Fox. I think that Wolf is slightly better than Fox, but the characters are very close. They're both spacies, but they both are there for different purposes. Wolf hits a lot harder. Fox combos a lot better and is quicker. Wolf's slower on the ground, but he's got some insane airspeed. I just think that these two characters are fairly similar, but they fulfill different purposes, different play styles. So yeah, they're right there next to each other. If you want to play a Spacey, pick your play style and then pick one of these two. Don't pick Falco. He's not good. My poor Falco. Next, I'm gonna put Zero. Next, I'm gonna put Zero Suit. There's a lot of Japanese players doing very well with her. He's a very she's a very good character, and I think that people are still underrating her this far into the game. Maybe I'm underrating her. Maybe she's even better, but I'm gonna put Zero Suit there, and then I'm gonna leave these two where they are. I think that's how they are. Roy's just got that insane damage potential and that rush down, and Pac-Man will just zone you out. If you guys like this video, I just talked for I don't even know how long straight. I need a drink. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment, tell me what I did wrong in the comment section. I would really appreciate that. I would love to hear your guys' feedback on this. This took me a while to even just sit down here and record and talk about all this. So if you guys enjoyed it at all, please interact with me in the comments section. I would love to hear from you guys. That being said, I'll see you guys later.